Okay, guys, here we go. This is video number 4, huh? Okay, so by now you've gotten a pattern where you know that you're going to look at this. These are supposed to all be review. So this is stuff all that we've been told that you guys have already been taught. Now, again, let me restate. I know that means you didn't all learn it, but that's why we're going over this week, because we know that this is much of this is stuff you haven't learned. You haven't learned well, or you might not remember. So we're trying to see if it's you forgot it over the summer or you didn't learn it, but we're going to do everything in our power to help you learn it now. Okay? You're going to have a whole nother chapter before you start taking tests again. So you'll have at least 2 weeks to make up this test if you don't do well on it. Okay? Okay. Now, when we talk about unit rates or unit price, now when we talk about this, remember in the last, when we've been talking about area, I told you have to have units. So I'm just going to give you a hint, okay? I'm just going to do this first one with you, okay? If you have Ryan pays $202.86, so we're going to highlight a couple of things to make sure we know what we're talking about, okay? First, we're going to have a unit price. So unit price, that entails that we're going to have dollars. So we're always going to have dollars per unit or cents per unit, but it's always going to be dollars per unit. Whether we're talking about tangerines, we're talking about pencils, whether we're talking about dogs, or we're talking about ounce, whatever we're talking about, we're always going to have, it's a ratio. It's going to be part over part. And when all we're going to do is we're going to create this, when it says unit, that means we're always going to have a 1 for the unit down here, and then whatever comes up on top. But we're going to start with it being just like this, that whatever we start with, we're going to complete it. So if I have, like, for this one, it tells me that I get $2.86 for 11 tangerines. So I'm going to go 2.86 for 11 tangerines. What I need to know to get my unit price, how much for 1 tangerine? Okay. That's what the unit's price, and they say to the nearest cent, which means to the nearest hundredth. So if you don't remember that, remember that if I have $12.53, okay, that's the cent, the 100. So round to the nearest hundredth, okay? Okay, so what I've got to do, and I'm going to teach you just quickly, I'm going to give you just a reminder. What I've always taught is what you're going to do is it's scale factor, you're going to divide by 11 here. And if you divide if you divide the denominator by 11, you have to divide the numerator by 11, okay? And I only call it numerator and denominator so that you remember that it's the top and the bottom of the ratio. These aren't fractions. These are ratios, okay? Now, when we start this in third term, I'm going to be much more precise about it. And even in the next video, on the extended video, I'm going to teach you more on it. But I'm just trying to remind you here real quick that now what you have to do is do the math. What is 2.86 divided by 11? So 2.86 divided by 11. Okay. Now look at this, and 2 won't go into it, so I have $0, right? But then that means I have 280 cents. Well, so that means 28 will go into, I can go into it twice, right? So that's 10 cents times 11 is 220 cents. And there's 60 cents left over, right? Now, 11 will go into 65 times. That'll give me 55, right? So I'm going to have 5. 5 times 11 is 55. Remember, this is my cent. I can just say that's my hundredths place. That's as far as I'm going to go. But I do have to know if I can round up or down, right? So I'm going to have 5 left over. and 11 going to 50 4 times. And again, you can do this with your multiplication table. You could be doing this long division with your multiplication table, which I will give you on Monday. So yeah, so that's probably going to be, well, I've got it to you Monday, and you're doing this on Wednesday. You're watching this for Wednesday. So this is less than 5, so it's gonna round to just 25. This is 25 cents. So to the nearest cent, this is 25 cents per tangerine. That's your answer on this. Okay, that's what your final answer is. This is what your work would look like. Your work would look like, first, to say, here's my original ratio, and I'm going to take it to be 1 tangerine. That's all you're doing every time. We think you've already thought it, but seen it, but I'm just going to show you that now so you know what to do. Now what you're going to do is do these two. Find the unit price. Okay. And then this one, you're going to simplify the ratio. So it's a ratio, right? 32 hours to 36 hours, right? And you got to write that you got to know how to write that as a ratio. See if you do, see if you don't. Okay, go. I'm going to tell you to hit pause now. Then look at the answer, circle the ones you got right, see if you can figure out what you did wrong. If you can't, then go watch the extended video on these problems. Okay, hit pause, do the problems, hit play to see the answers. Okay, so on the first one, you should have gotten that it's 19 cents per pencil. Now you should see your work over here, right? How you got this. Okay, and then on this second one, you should have 8 hours for every 9 hours. And although this doesn't make a lot of sense right now for some of you, it will when we hit chapter 3, and I'll explain it. Remember, I want to see your work over here. Okay? All right, let's go on to the next problems. Now, remember, guys, if you're looking at it right now and you're like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what this is, then just go watch the extended video. It's going to be a little longer because this one's going to take a little more explanation, but I'll work real hard to make it not over 25 minutes, okay? But go watch that extended. If you just look at all these problems, don't get to that. If you're frustrated, that's okay. And then go watch the extended video. Just jump onto that, watch it till you get it. Hey, you might watch just 3 of them and say, okay, I get this, I can do them now, and then go do them. And then, but come to class and be ready to ask questions. This video does not mean that I'm trying to tell you I don't want to teach. I want to teach. I love to teach. But this provides opportunities for you to undo the cycle of going home not knowing what you're doing and being stuck. Because now what you get to do is come to class, and if you got a question on one problem, you can raise your hand. Hey, Bruno, I don't get how to do this. Now, I will ask you, though, open up your notes. I want to see your notes. Because you have to do your part. All right, and if you haven't watched the video, then I'm going to say, well, watch the video. Okay. Okay, so let's move on to the next ones. Okay, here you go. So it says, identify the statements that describe a ratio. The ratio of laptops to desktops in an electronics store is 8 to 9. And that looks like something we had before, right? Okay. Check all the statements that must be true based on the statement above. If none of the statements is true, then check none of the above. So what that means is you have to read each one of them, and I tell you right now that sometimes there's more than one that's correct. You have to read this and ask yourself, does it fit that description? You have to read this, does it fit that description? Read this one, ask yourself, does it fit that description? If the answer is yes, you're going to show your math down over here, right? And you're going to ask yourself, does this fit that description? Now, if you don't know, then you go watch the extended video. If you do know, hey, do it, and then let's see what you got. Okay, hit pause, do the problems, show your work, see what you come up with. Make sure you hit play once you find out, once you do it, and then see what you got for an answer. If you got right or wrong, circle the ones you got right. Okay, the only one it works for is the first one. Okay, because it does tell you that your ratio is laptops to desktops. So I'll just tell you, you should have gone laptops to desktops, and all your ratios had to equal 8/9. You had to always be talking about laptops on top, desktops on the bottom. Okay, your work would be really simple. You could even done it over to the right. Okay, but you would have just had to always keep it at laptops to desktops because that's what this ratio is. Unless they gave you desktops to laptops, which would mean if you went desktops to laptops, the desk would be on top, the laps would be on bottom. So it would have been 9 to 8. Okay. All right. So if you didn't understand it, go watch the extended video. I really don't think the extended video is going to, well, it's going to be a little bit longer, but it won't be more than 20 minutes. Okay. Okay. Good luck.